Hey guys, today I would love to talk to you about reasons why it seems like your dog training isn't working. And I do that whilst I'm on my pack walk. So the first one is that you're inconsistent with your training. And with that, it's very easy. Sometimes you follow certain rules, sometimes you don't follow certain rules. It could be that one person does something in the house and someone else is doing the complete exact opposite. Or it could be that some days you train every day of the week and then you don't train for like 2 weeks straight. Like those are all obvious reasons of why you are probably plateaued in your training. I think an easy way to fix that one is by not setting yourself the goal of I have to train my dog half an hour every day, because that's hard and it starts feeling like a chore. So just aim for 5 minutes every day first, and then maybe you get to 10 minutes or can go 15 minutes every other day. Like, don't set yourself up to fail in terms of motivation. And then for consistency, talk to everyone in your household and decide together on which rules you're going to stick to, and then actually stick to them. Another reason why you might feel like you're stuck is because you're expecting results too fast. Obviously, it depends what you're training. Like reactivity always takes a long time. But even something like the place command, your dog is going to need a fair amount of sessions. Recall, same thing. Something simple like sit, not so much. I think you need to really be aware of how old is your dog and how long has your dog practiced their behavior before you wanted it changed, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting something changed, but if your dog is 4 years old and it's pulled on lead for 4 years, you're obviously going to have a harder time reteaching that than it would be if your dog is young and has never pulled on leash. So it is all about setting realistic expectations. So don't go with the idea of, hey, I have a reactive dog, I want him to be friends with every dog. Like, it's not gonna happen. Or if you have a dog that pulls like a freight train, maybe your goal should be, can I walk 200 meters without pulling? And then can I walk half a kilometer? Like, don't go straight away with the intention of I want to walk for an hour long and my dog shouldn't pull at all ever on the walk. Again, with expectations like that, you are going to constantly set yourself and your dog up to fail. So don't do that. Another one is about rewards. You may be using the wrong rewards. And with that, it could be that you're using too boring of a reward and your dog is simply not interested in the environment that you're practicing. Or the food is too exciting. If you ever work with your dog and they kind of seem to lose the plot because they're so excited about the food that you're using, you need to pick a lower value treat because your dog is unable to think clearly and perform the task when it's so excited about the food that you've planned for your dog. Or some dogs like to be trained with toys, which I think is a lot harder for people to do. Or maybe they just like affection and praise. But I think mentioning that some dogs get super overexcited over food is a really important one that is very rarely mentioned online, because everyone's like, just use more better food. No, some food makes it worse. Another important one is that if you use corrections, that's fine and necessary in training, but it is a problem if you are correcting your dog but not showing them what you want from them instead. Yeah, and that way your dog is like, okay, I'm not supposed to do that, so what am I supposed to do instead? And if you're not spending enough time saying, no, don't do this, do that instead, and then reward your dog for what is a good choice, that's when you also get stuck in your training. So for example, if your dog jumps on people or on you and you're scolding them, oh, don't jump at me, and you push them away, but you never spend time rewarding your dog when they are actually keeping 4 feet on the ground, well, then you're having a lot of missed opportunities. And another one that is super important to talk about is your location that you're training. So this goes both ways. So first of all, if you're training in a high distraction environment, your dog is most likely not going to be successful because there are so many other things that they are distracted by. Having said that, if you never train in a high distraction environment, they will not move forward either. So how do I approach this then? I like to see training environments a little bit like levels, depending on where your dog is at. You obviously start at level 1, and level 1, the easiest environment is your living room, right? So you want to teach everything you can first in your living room, and then the next level up could be your backyard, because there's more smells, and then the next level up from that is your front yard, more smells, plus also cars, people walking by, all sorts of stuff. Then you might go to a quiet park. You don't want to go to a super busy park the first time because you won't be that successful. For example, this park behind me would be a great spot to train dogs because it's nice and quiet, but we're in the middle of a neighborhood. So there will be some distractions, but it won't be crazy. However, if I never move out of that quiet park and I don't start introducing some challenges, my dog will forever keep struggling in new areas. So then the next step would be, let's go to a busier park, but work at a greater distance away from everything that's exciting. And then slowly you move forward, right? So every step you make is going to be a bit harder. If you go from your living room to a busy dog park or the beach or, I don't know, farmer's market, you are going to just have such a hard time with your dog because you went from level 0 to 100 and you didn't practice the steps in between. Of course your dog is going to struggle. Alright, I hope these tips were helpful for you and maybe you are able to figure out if there's any of these that are stopping you from progressing on your training journey. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and see you next time.